This is the little hamlet of Baker. Which is near the entrance to the Great Basin National Park. And it's the only gasoline station for miles around. And they have some strange octanes, 85, 88. And this is the visitor center, finally. What time is it? It's 1 o'clock. This is the entry to the visitor center at Great Basin National Park, home of the Lehman Caves and bristlecone pine trees. They have the visitor center here. And this huge map. And displays. A bristlecone.
Excuse me?
Well, I guess the Ravens. This is how the basin and range is formed. You have level land here, and then with compression, they slide, and you have grabens and something. So these would slip down here. This would become the valley, and this would become the mountain, and then a valley, and then a mountain. I think it was John Charles Fremont who described the basin and range territory as appearing like worms crawling from south to north. And as you can see, it extends all the way from Mexico to Canada, or at least to Oregon, it looks like. Sagebrush.
Oh, it's the fault line you see in New Jersey. That's what it is. Yeah, the fault line. post stuff on Facebook. I don't do that. Would you happen to know what this area is called? The one that.
This is the story of the Forgotten Winchester. Just imagine you are hiking on a trail in the Great Basin National Park one day and decide to take a break under the shade of a juniper tree. While sitting there, munching on some trail mix, contemplating the wonders of nature, you notice something unusual about another tree a few yards away. As your gaze hones in on the tree, you notice a part of the trunk that does not conform to nature's architecture. As you approach the tree for a closer look, you suddenly stop, mesmerized by what you see. An old, weather-beaten relic of the 1800s frontier. This must be a dream. Well, for Eva Jensen, a national park archaeologist, this was not a dream. In November 2014, she was stationed at the Great Basin National Park in Nevada. The National Park Service had begun a fuels reduction project around the Strawberry Creek campground to prevent campfires from sparking wildfires in the surrounding forest. As part of the project, the Park Service sent staff from their Cultural Resources Office to search the project area for artifacts. Quoting Jensen, "It was just after our lunch break one day in late November. Our survey area was a steep, rocky outcrop, and I was looking for Native American pottery and artifacts under some rocky ledges, because you never know what you will find there. I went around a tree and saw something mechanical under it. It took a moment for my brain to process what I was looking at, and I was literally speechless. Then I urgently called for the rest of the survey crew to join me, and from the tone of my voice, several of them thought I'd fallen off a cliff. When they saw the gun, the survey crew members were dumbstruck. We were able to take some photos in the fading afternoon light, and our technician was able to capture the model 1873 lettering engraved on the tang. Because it was found in a remote area, we left the gun in place until we could do some initial research. We showed photos of the gun to more colleagues, and the consensus was it was an original Winchester. According to the records at the Cody Firearms Museum, the rifle is a Winchester Repeating Arms Company Model 1873, chambered in 4440 Winchester. These rifles were manufactured in 3 iterations from 1873 to 1923. It was so popular that it became known as the gun that won the West. The rifle's serial number indicated that it was one of the 25,000 that were manufactured in 1882. The bottom of its stock was buried 4 to 5 inches into the accumulated soil and vegetation, and a round of ammunition was found stored in its stock that dated between 1887 and 1911, indicating that it had been resting there for perhaps 30 to 40 years. The rifle was carefully extracted from its site and driven by park rangers to the Cody Firearms Museum at the Buffalo Bill Center of the West in Cody, Wyoming, for provenance and evaluation. While examining the rifle, a rod was placed into the muzzle to make sure that there was no obstruction by a cartridge. The rod stopped short of the breech. The staff then took the firearm to a local hospital to be x-rayed under the patient name of Rifle. While the chamber and tube magazine were not found to have an active cartridge, the x-rays did reveal a live cartridge in a compartment inside the stock normally used to house cleaning materials. The cartridge lifter and carrier block had been removed from inside the action, thus eliminating the repeater function and making the rifle a single shot. The cartridge found in the stock was manufactured by the Union Metallic Cartridge Company, UMC 4440 caliber, sometime between 1889 and 1911. The Winchester was on display at the Cody Museum for almost a year, and was later displayed at gun shows, and even made a trip to the Winchester Company in Utah. It is now part of the visitor center displays at the Great Basin National Park under the title of the Forgotten Winchester. This iconic rifle was so popular that it was the focus, or you could say the star, of a 1950s movie of the same name, which starred Jimmy Stewart and Dan Daria. Incidentally, minor roles in this movie were played by upcoming young actors Tony Curtis and Rock Hudson. So, who left this rifle under the juniper tree? Over the years, the area was known for hunting, prospecting, sheep herding, and Native American pine nut gathering. Could it have been rested there, and later the owner wandered off, and after realizing he left it, could not find it? Was it discarded there since its inner workings had been cannibalized to repair another such rifle? We will never know. Now this is an interesting story. I think one of the park rangers was out hiking, and they found this gun leaning against the tree that had probably been out there for over 100 years, and this is actually it. Amazing.
And then everything like E is in the Great Basin, but this is sinister ways you got legs.
These are settlers of the Great Basin.
Drains out into the ocean. I see. But everything else drains inward. It's really cool. I've been learning a lot about it. I've been getting more questions the more I learn